Welcome into OutKick, the show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. We got a lot of college football to react to. Great time meeting many of you up at Penn State for the game against Ohio State. Had an awesome day hanging out with Dave McCormick, the Republican candidate for the Senate in Pennsylvania. I'll break all that down for you. Tell you what I saw, what the outcome is, break down college football playoff chances, SEC power rankings, all that. But it is election eve, and I'm going to give you the absolute latest so far as I see it, based on data that's actually out there that is real, not really focused at this point on polls. 75 million of you have voted, including me. Basically, half the vote is already in, and there is reliable data to a large extent on that. I'll talk about that in a minute. In the meantime, Prize Picks. Best way to win real money this football season. Make your picks in less than a minute. Turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. I will have picks for you on Thursday. We won 3 out of the 4 this past Thursday. Need to get all 4 to hit 10-1. Sign up today. Use code OutKick for $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. Guaranteed. Code OutKick to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. FYI for our team, do not clip that ad and put it at the top. I want my long form why I'm voting for Trump to remain pinned on my social media profile. It's up on foxnews.com. It's up on OutKick. Several thousand words. If you are out there and you want to know why exactly I am voting Trump, I laid it all out for you. The 7 primary reasons that I think you should vote for Donald Trump. Why I am voting for Donald Trump. Do your own research, make your own decisions. I just try to be as authentic as I possibly can with all of you. Get out and get your votes in. Like I said, 75 million of you in roughly so far. That's about half of voters, including me. I've already voted 17 days ago. Here is the absolute latest on the ground from a voting perspective. I'll start off on the West. Nevada. Republicans have right around a 42,000 vote advantage in Nevada as early voting is coming to a close. If Republicans show up in big numbers tomorrow, Trump is going to win Nevada. Arizona. Republicans have right at a 200,000 vote advantage on early voting. If Republicans show up and vote in good numbers in Arizona tomorrow, Trump is going to win Arizona. North Carolina. Republicans have an advantage in early voting over Democrats. If Republicans show up in North Carolina on Tuesday, Trump is going to win that state. Those are 3 different states that we know specifically Republican versus Democrat swing states that Republicans are in the lead in right now. In Pennsylvania, last election presidential cycle, Democrats were able to run up a 1.1 million vote lead with absentee ballots, with early voting, with mail voting. Right now, they're going to have around a 400,000 vote lead. So in Pennsylvania, Republicans are behind, but Democrats have 700,000 less of an advantage than they did in 2020. Now, Democrats might say, hey, they're all going to show up, those 700,000 people, and they're going to vote on Election Day. Maybe that's true. But Democrats only won by 80,000 total votes in Pennsylvania in 2020, and they're 700,000 behind the pace that they set in 2024, in 2020. Meanwhile, in 2024, Republicans are turning out at about the same rate on absentee and mail ballots that they did in 2020. Got to sprint through the finish line, but things are looking very good there. Wisconsin also, and Michigan. Florida, I think Trump is going to win by double digits. He's up 10 right now with 8 million votes having been cast in the state of Florida. Again, the way that I would characterize this right now, based on the early vote data, This has been shared by the Trump campaign. I retweeted it. You can go look at it. This is early voting data. Republicans have the halftime lead. And if you've ever been on a team, you know, if you have the halftime lead and you come out lackadaisical at the start of the second half, how many times have you seen someone on the losing side take back control of the game? Don't let that happen. Republicans have worked hard in early voting to be in far better position right now than we were in 2020. Democrat numbers are down substantially. If Republicans sprint through the finish line, Donald Trump is going to be the next president of the United States. So I don't want anybody out there not voting. I don't want anybody out there overconfident. I want everyone sprinting through the finish line, full strides, no doubt at all. When your state shuts down and you've gotten your friends and family in and you have gone to vote yourself, you can kick back and have a beer, toss up the boots and have a bourbon and sit back and watch the results coming in on tomorrow night, and you will be able, I think, to celebrate a Republican presidential win if you finish strong, and Republicans taking control of the Senate and a good chance of taking the House and maintaining it as well. All of that still to be determined. Nothing decided right now. A halftime lead doesn't decide the final score. Don't let up right now. Pour on more steam. Tomorrow, I will be out doing live Fox Nation and OutKick shows from Kid Rock's Honky Tonk on Broadway in downtown Nashville. I will be there with Tommy Lahren, Pete Hegseth, and Morgan Ortagus, among others. I'll be doing a lot of media all day tomorrow. You'll probably see me all over the place, but I will be live starting in the evening as all of the election results come on at foxnation.com, at outkick.com. You can follow me certainly on my Twitter accounts. Adam, who's going to be with me, let's have a couple of extra chargers because I know my phone's going to be off the hook. All of you who know me are going to be texting me, asking me what the latest is. I'm telling you exactly what I'm telling all my friends who are texting, asking me what the absolute latest is. Okay, so that is the early voting data. I haven't focused as much on the polls because once 75 million people have voted, the polls matter less. I like the early voting data and then the predictive markets of the presidential betting cycle. And so, as I am speaking to all of you right now, at this exact moment, Donald Trump, 58% chance to win on Polymarket with over $3 billion bet. Kamala Harris, 42% chance. Over the weekend, while I was traveling around, this thing was moving quite a bit. Trump got up to 66. It's come back down. I think it came back down all the way to like 53 or 54. Now it's back up to 58. Again, Trump 58 to 42, the favorite to win the presidential election. What's it going to come down to? Not a surprise, the swing states. So let me give you the absolute latest in the swing states. I'm going to scroll over here as I am talking to you. This is Polymarket. Trump, a 9-point favorite in Nevada. It's going to be close. Go vote. 56 to 47. As I said, Republicans have about a 42,000 vote lead right now. Pennsylvania, it's going to be close. If I had to pick one state that I would want to see the outcome of tomorrow, it would be Pennsylvania. Trump up 57 to 43 in Pennsylvania, 57% chance in that betting market. North Carolina, 67% chance Trump wins North Carolina, 34% Kamala Harris. Georgia, 67% chance as well, Kamala Harris, 34%. Arizona, Trump out to a 76% lead. And then Kamala is in the lead in two states, Michigan, 61 to 41, and Wisconsin, 58 to 43. That is the current analysis of the 7 battleground states. It's not just the presidential election. There are lots of important Senate races. I spent Saturday and Friday night, went out to dinner with him, with Dave McCormick and his wife. I got to tell you, this is anecdotal. 110,000 people in Beaver Stadium. Congratulations to Ohio State. I'll get to the football side in a moment. We tailgated Lot 41 right outside of the stadium beside Dave McCormick's bus, swarmed with many of you out there attending the game. I saw a ton of Trump flags driving in, ton of MAGA hats, tons of Trump gear. I barely saw anything at all for Kamala. Now, maybe Kamala's giving up on football. Maybe Ohio State, Penn State is not Kamala's ballywick. But to me, if you are trying to win a tight election race and there's over 100,000 people there and there are virtually no supporters for Kamala Harris and there are tons of Trump supporters, that is a very bad on-the-ground sign. Is it anecdotal? 100%. But I go to college football games everywhere, all over the country, and usually college football fans are razzing each other, giving each other a little bit of a hard time. Not one Kamala supporter walked up to me or Dave McCormick, at least that I heard, and trash talked us at all, tried to get us on video saying something inappropriate, which is like the whole Jason Kelsey thing, which I'll talk about in a sec. And so I take that as a sign, not a definitive sign, but a sign of positivity there. I want you all to listen to me. If you're watching me in Pennsylvania, go vote for Dave McCormick. These are going to be serious toss-up races. In Michigan, Mike Rogers. In Wisconsin, Eric Hovde. In Ohio, Bernie Moreno. In Montana, Tim Sheehy. In Arizona, Kerry Lake. In Nevada, Sam Brown. In New Mexico, Dominici. In Virginia, Hung Cao. In Maryland, Larry Hogan. Whatever happens in the presidential race, I am very confident that if Republicans turn out, the Senate is going to be in Republican hands. That provides a balance if somehow Kamala were to end up in the presidency. Similarly, if you're out in New York or California and you think, oh, my vote doesn't really matter that much, my states are decided wrong, New York and California decided the House. They are likely to decide the House of Representatives. Again, it's going to be very close. Your vote in the House may be the decision maker. Your vote in the Senate may be the decision maker, along with the presidential election. I love where we're sitting right now, but let's sprint through the finish line and let's deliver this race. Let's cash in on the halftime lead and all the work that everybody has done so far. And if that happens, we'll be good. My day before prediction, because everybody loves predictions, I think Trump is going to win Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, and North Carolina. I think Trump is going to win Florida by double digits, and I think Trump is going to win Pennsylvania by 100,000 votes. Okay. Make me look like a genius. Get out there and vote and make all of that accurate. Again, you control the outcome of the race. I've already voted. I think I have done everything I could. I traveled to Pennsylvania. I campaigned with Dave McCormick. I have donated money. I've spent an inordinate amount of time on this. I am going tomorrow to feel like I did everything I could to help determine the outcome of this election. Are you? If the answer is no, all you've got to do is about a 24-hour sprint. My dad challenged all of you. He's got a broken hip. I took him to go vote. He's 80 years old. He was able to get out and vote with a broken hip. He said, I am not a white dude for Harris. If he could get out and vote with a broken hip at 80 years old in a wheelchair, none of you have excuses. Get out and vote. Get your friends and family out to vote as well. I took both of my 80-year-old parents. I wheeled my dad in to allow him to cast his ballot. I want all of you to do everything you can to get out the vote as well. And again, to reinforce, we will be live. We will be live tomorrow with a lot of programming. Also, in addition to Clay and Buck, obviously live video. Let me say this. Don't let anything I say or anything somebody on Fox News or MSNBC or CNN or the Washington Post or the New York Times or NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, anywhere, don't let anything that anybody says keep you from voting. You, at a minimum, need to go out and make your voice heard. Get out and vote. Get out and vote. We have the lead. Make sure that we finish it. All right, that is my election eve analysis. May do a show tomorrow. I'm going to be on so many different shows tomorrow. I might not because it may be a challenge time-wise. But just FYI, absolute latest. We will have tons of content tomorrow and certainly throughout the rest of the week. Okay, let's go into the college football analysis. I know many of you are here for college football analysis, and I know some of you out there are like, the last thing I want to do is see another political ad ever again. Well, congratulations, you made it through the last week. There will be no political ads on your television probably come this coming weekend of college football, but let's talk about what happened. Congratulations to Ohio State. Ryan Day has had the reputation that he can't win the big game. Down 10-0 in a raucous atmosphere at Penn State. Ohio State had the gumption, the wherewithal to come back and win. I think effectively punched their ticket into the playoff. Even with a loss now against Indiana, I think Ohio State would be in. I also think Penn State is in. And there's a good chance that Penn State gets to host a home playoff game. I know some people out there are fired up. They're Nittany Lion fans. They say, oh, we can never win the big game. Well, hold on a minute. This happens all the time. Ohio State's a great program. Most of the time, you're going to lose to Ohio State. 1 in 10, James Franklin, over those 11. Nobody's really beaten Ohio State. So this idea that the expectation should be for Ohio State to lose. No, look, Penn State was the underdog at home. Ohio State's the more talented team. To me, a standard of, hey, we're going to make the playoff and go 10-2 or 11-1, and I think Penn State's going to go 11-1, that's a whale of an accomplishment. To me, that is something that should be a big deal and should be something to celebrate. Other games, South Carolina, huge win over Texas A&M. Shane Beamer's team played lights out, 44-20. Defensively, we knew that South Carolina was solid, but if you look at what they've done on the road against Alabama, they maybe should have won that game. If you look at what they did in the game on the road against Oklahoma, dominated that one. And then coming out, especially in the second half after a 20-20 tie, outscoring Texas A&M 24-0 in the second half. Huge win for South Carolina. I'll talk about A&M here in a moment in terms of the SEC rankings. Congratulations, Houston. Really nice win over Kansas State. Texas Tech pulls off the upset over Iowa State. A lot of different moving parts out there to get us where we are right now with, I think, an utterly fascinating playoff race coming down the stretch here. Now, every single Sunday, my starting 11 goes up. There are thousands and thousands of words that will be written from me about the college football. Tens of thousands that will be written over the course of the season. If you want to find that, you can easily search my name out, Clay Travis, and boom, you get access to everything I think about the weekend that was in college football. But I want to say, let me give you my top 10. Let me tell you where I think this is going. My current top 10, Oregon number 1, Georgia number 2, Ohio State 3, Texas 4, Miami 5, Penn State 6, Tennessee 7, Indiana 8, BYU 9. I've got Ole Miss higher than a lot of other people. I've got Ole Miss at 10. I love the way Ole Miss is playing. I like their defense-offense combo. I'm impressed by it. That would mean my playoff 12 would look like this. I'm projecting Oregon to win the Big Ten, Georgia to win the SEC, Miami to win the ACC, and BYU to win the Big 12. So those would be my 4 buys. With what's going on in the Big 12, I only have BYU making it. And with what's going on in the ACC, Clemson's big loss, congratulations to Louisville, I only have Miami making it. Okay, within that construct, I would have Ohio State as my 5 seed. They would host Boise State. I would have Texas as my 6. They would host Notre Dame. I would have Penn State as my 7. They would host Ole Miss. And I would have Tennessee as my 8, hosting Indiana. That is my right now playoff 12. OutKick has their own playoff 12 that is out there. SEC Power Rankings. Georgia 1, Texas 2, Tennessee 3. Crazily, every SEC team except Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee right now has lost more than one game. Then I've got Ole Miss 4, Alabama 5, Texas A&M 6, LSU 7. That's the top 7. I think those are the 7 teams that are still alive for the college football playoff. In the Big Ten, Indiana, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, I feel like are likely to make the playoff. I think 11-1 Notre Dame is going to be impossible to leave out, even with the bad loss to Northern Illinois. Will be interesting to see tomorrow the College Football Playoff Committee rankings, as if there weren't way more things going on tomorrow of way more consequence, but the playoff rankings, the first one will come out. And I think BYU, only undefeated team left in the Big 12. I think they will win the Big 12. And I think that Miami will beat SMU to win the ACC. Congratulations to SMU getting the win over Pitt. 7-1 SMU, now set up after the Louisville win over Clemson to potentially have an ACC championship game between SMU and Miami. Maybe only one ACC, maybe only one Big 12 team getting in. Top 7, like I said, in the SEC, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU. Then I've got South Carolina, Gamecocks, top 3-loss team. I've got them above Vanderbilt. They play this weekend. It's my 20th law school reunion this weekend. I may well end up at that game here in Nashville. Missouri, I've got at 10. Have not been impressed with the Tigers very much this year. I've got Arkansas at 11. When you get 63 hung on you at home, it's a tough one to react to. Big win by Ole Miss. Florida, I've got at 12. I give credit to Florida for how they played against Georgia. But with Lagway out now with a hamstring walk-on quarterback, Florida Gators probably in trouble, especially given the fact they still have Texas, Ole Miss, and one more really good, LSU, I think, still on the horizon there for Florida. I've got Oklahoma at 13. I've got Auburn at 14. Vanderbilt gets the win over Auburn, jumps back into the top 25. Kentucky, I've got at 15. Actually, I thought Kentucky played somewhat decently against Tennessee, given the injuries. And then I got Mississippi State at 16. Nico. A lot of talk about Nico. I wanted to mention I thought he played his best game in the SEC. Still, he has only started, what's the math, 9 games in his career. If his receivers could catch the football, Nico would have thrown 4 touchdowns, 400 yards, would have been by far his best game, was still really good, went for 280 and 1 touchdown. I think we're now starting to get a performance from Tennessee's offense, which may round into shape and be better. I'm going to be with Big Noon in a couple of weeks, by the way, on the road for the Georgia-Tennessee game, which now has been set for the evening. I'll talk a lot about Georgia on the road against Ole Miss and the absolute Donnybrook between Alabama and LSU, what I'm calling a coach trial by combat. Kalen DeBoer or Brian Kelly are going to be under fire, whichever one loses that game. So that is my college football reactions. One more story. Redux, is that how you pronounce it? I believe it's Redux. They have a story up. Many of you remember the story of the Algerian boxer who won a women's gold medal. Many people out there said this was unacceptable because the boxer, Amin Khalif, I probably mispronounced that name, had XY chromosomes. Well, the Redux Online staff, the site, published what they claim is a medical history, which shows that Amin Khalif has XY chromosomes, that is biologically male, had slowly descending testicles, and a micropenis. So what that is basically telling me is this person is effectively a white dude voting for Harris, slowly descending testicles, micropenis, XY chromosomes in name. That is a joke. I hope it turns into a headline at one of the places out there that hates me, because that would be one of my favorite headlines ever. Clay Travis says white dudes voting for Harris have micro penises. Go ahead and quote it, put it in the headline, and that will be the perfect election eve story from my perspective. But look, this was a dude who beat up women and won a gold medal. This should have never been allowed to happen. The Olympics failed. Everyone who tried to defend this failed, including CNN, MSNBC, everybody else out there. And that, I'm telling you, is a complete and utter failure. It's one of the reasons I am voting for Donald Trump. I can't believe this has ever become a political issue, but men who pretend that they are women or who identify as women should not be able to compete in women's sports, just like I, a 45-year-old man, should not be able to play Little League Baseball. We have standards for who's able to compete designed to enforce fairness. Allowing men to compete as women is completely unacceptable, and the Olympics failed. We let a dude, biological man, a man, beat the crap out of women and stand there and receive a gold medal. Unacceptable. All right. I love all of you. Get out and vote. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. It's finally here. Election Eve. If you haven't already voted like 75 million people have, you need to get out now. This has been OutKick the show. DBAP unless you need to SBAP.